advantage instead of letting debt control us. So in this webinar, we are going to try and cover most of the important points that relate to debt, taxes, investments, wealth creation, and the most important topical point at the moment, which is about mortgages and the current rate of interest as they keep on going up, and they probably still will be going up in the next 3 to 4 months. And help people, give every person we can more financial knowledge so they can keep the things they treasure about their lives instead of worrying about them that they will lose them. So to start here, I would like to now give you or get you to see a testimonial video of some of the clients that have been through the business, so you can see the experiences they've had, so it gives you a bit of inspiration and perhaps some courage to start to see these ideas and start to look further into it. So I'll run this video now.
You feel at home with this company, like Landmark Investments.
I let them know what I wanted and they provided me the options, and this place was the perfect option for what I wanted.
So that's 7 properties overall, which has been pretty exciting. We never thought we'd be able to do that.
Plan for 1, 2, 3, and within a year we got 4 with Landmark, which is really, I thought it's not doable, but yeah, Landmark make it happen.
Make it like as if it's very easy because they know what they're doing and you can trust them. From here, from 2 properties, actually the aim is to pay off the first house, and then from there we would like to go home.
Landmark got pretty much like everything there, from the finance, accounting, lawyer, real estate. So it saved me all the times like to go through one by one. I just go there and then like everything's done.
Listen to what our needs were, and yeah, we've been more than comfortable to take that step to move forward. So we managed to secure 8 properties within the first 2 months of being here.
I would have no hesitation in recommending Landmark. In fact, I've already done so.
4 houses I bought it and without any extra payments, so I didn't know about this. And I've been so happy with this explanation, and it's unbelievable, yeah, but it became true. So initially I've been scared, yeah, definitely, but now I'm very, very confident. Yeah, thank you to Landmark.
So far it's been pretty great with Landmark. We've had 3 property managed with Landmark, and it's been great. A smooth process, very quick from start to finish. So I'm very, very happy and highly recommend Landmark to anybody who's looking at investing in property. Landmark is the company to go for.
Okay, so there you can see some of our clients that have gone through the system, and I'm not sure if you know, but we've been doing this business now since 1996, so that's 27 years this year. So I've gone helped around 10,000 clients in this time. We've probably discussed this information with probably 100,000 clients. So even though the ideas are great and novel and they help people, there's still a lot of people are still marinated or been programmed too much, so they still have fear into looking at how to do this and getting involved with it. So a bit about the story about myself, I guess. When I started this business here, I started with the intention of helping people achieve wealth, and at that point in time was using superannuation because I'd come from a business of financial planning. I was one of the senior planners, one of the largest institutions in the country. But I could see that while I was talking to people to invest their money in self-managed super funds, I could see them that every year when we did a review, the reviewers didn't have great news. So it was basically a review to try and give them excuses and reasons why their funds were not growing in value. And then I found out that you could buy property using superannuation. So I thought, oh, well, this sounds pretty good because, you know, I can see and I believe that property would have been a great, or it is a great investment, safer, I guess, doesn't go bankrupt, that's for sure. And I started this business. So the idea at the time was help people see how to do things differently using this fund that is controlled by the government under the superannuation guidelines. And from then, I started to talk to people about how to use also equity in their homes, which is silent and dormant for most people, into how to invest in property. And then later on, I found out that, look, by using certain bank products that the banks have got in concealment, right, they don't talk about this much, how to use those bank products and some tax applications, you could pay the mortgages much faster. So I would like to now share with you some of these ideas, which hopefully will inspire you and give you some ideas on how and what you can do, or if you decide for us to help you do it, you'll be able to talk with us and we will show you how to do this. And if you like, we will do it for you. So this webinar is relating to how to improve your financial position for the future and hopefully do it in a very short period of time. And when we talk about that, we say that time is kind of the only real asset that we have, because money comes, money goes, but time, once it's gone, it's gone. So the most valuable asset we all have in our lives is time. And when we talk about this particular idea of how to use money to create wealth, we need to understand many things, but the most important, or one of them all, is to understand the debt and the taxes that we pay. Now, these two institutions have kind of taken control of all our lives, because I'm not sure if you worked it out yet, but about 60% of our money goes in taxes and in mortgages, right? So how we end up in a mortgage, how we all end up having mortgages, is because we all have the idea that we want to have a home to live in instead of paying rent. And this is kind of the main trophy that families combine. Everybody in the family decide, okay, let's go and buy a home instead of paying rent. So when we do that, we start to gather some information, which is our belief system, how we create on that through our friends, relatives, neighbors, co-workers, and then we go and ask a friendly broker or a bank manager, and they all kind of talk about the same thing. They all say, look, this 30-year loan is the one that we have, and a 30-year loan is the one that helps everybody. And when you go and see the bank and the broker, they all talk about a 30-year loan as a standard thing. So because of that, and banks know that we don't know much about banking anyway, so it's kind of a regular thing that they'll say, well, your repayments per month, it's going to be X number of dollars, and what you do is you work it out in your mind that, yep, I can afford to pay those, so you sign the dotted line. Excuse me. And then you begin the journey of trying to pay off this mortgage. All right? So that's one of the things we do. Now, once you start to go through this process of repaying the mortgage, and then you realize that after 3, 4, 5 years, you realize that the mortgage doesn't go anywhere. So what is this so-called principal and interest is nothing more but a default interest and a bit of principal left. But the bank, because they've got the right and they can do so, they can call it whatever they want. And it sounds better, principal and interest, rather than an interest and a bit of principal. But that's exactly what it is. Interest with a bit of principal. But because everyone has it, you kind of don't question it. You don't question it, because how could you be doing something different if everybody else is doing the same than everybody else? So you would feel out of place. And this is part of the condition that we have been led to believe, that if we follow everybody, then we should be okay. And because also the thought of a timid person, they feel stronger in groups, feel stronger in numbers. So we tend to copy other people in most cases in everything we do in our lives, because it's easier, plus we feel more confident. Now, some of the other things that we talk about as well is what people like us to discuss is how to create wealth for our long-term retirement, and how to accumulate enough money in our bank accounts to help our children have a better education. And also, and most importantly, is how to earn more money. So these are the kind of things that most people have in their minds, apart from obviously the first one, which is, how to reduce taxes. which we'll talk about that in a moment. But understanding these are the most common objectives that people have when we analyze why people want to pay their mortgage, or why people want to have a better lifestyle, a retirement, or why people want to, have money to educate their children, or why people want to earn more money. When we ask these questions for people, sometimes we find it strange that people don't have enough reasons. And if you don't have enough reasons when you want to achieve an outcome, you probably wouldn't even get to start. So what this message is very clear, that if you want to pay the mortgage, you need to have enough reasons. And sometimes the reasons are not there, so you just adapt. Now, adapting in your way out, in your way back, or in regression, right? It's kind of, you just take one step back, two step backs, right? Rather than if you adapt to say, well, if I have to give up some of my lifestyle so I can pay this mortgage, why don't I go out there and earn more money? So people decide earn more money means use more energy, use more of the free time, and they think, well, should I do what's a bit hard and necessary, or should I go what's convenient and easy, which is come back, which means regress, which means that adapt to a lesser lifestyle, adapt with less money. And 90% of the time, people prefer to adapt going backwards, which means that they'll do without a little bit less. And as a race club, they do with a little bit less and a little bit less, until eventually they say, well, that's enough. I can't do this anymore. So now I need to go and find a way out, which means now people start to think how to earn more money, because going backwards in living expenses to try and sustain a loan that keeps going up in interest rates is not a healthy thing, because we're human beings. Human beings have got unlimited power. We're infinite, right? And we can do anything we want to do when we've got reasons good enough and strong enough to ignite our lives to begin the journey. And this is what is called creating your own life by thinking. Now, thinking is the hardest work to do in life, and that's why most people prefer to follow. Like, it's easy to follow people and let them do the thinking. I'm sure you've been many times to restaurants when people say, what would you like to eat? And most people say, well, you choose for me, because they don't want to think too much. So simple examples like this, and simple examples like, why we get in the mortgage the way we're getting it is because we just want to follow the next guy because it's easier, right? But when it comes to your life and what you want to achieve and leave behind for your children, you need to do a bit of thinking so that you can create your own life instead of copying somebody else's life. Because if you analyze where they are going, you probably don't want to go down that path. So the idea here is to start to use your thinking mind for your benefit on how to improve your life rather than regress and adapt, to a high interest rate in the bank, which means a higher repayment, and a higher rate of inflation, which means things are costing more money, which means that your lifestyle has to be let go. So this is a very important thing to think about. Now, going through the process of life and understanding how we ended up here is, and as I said earlier, it's purely because conditioning and programming. When we go to school, when the parents send us to school at the very beginning, we start to learn how people say, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't go here, you can't go there, you can only learn this, you can't learn that. Then we go to university, then it teaches skills and things that we need to learn, for certain things or jobs that we want to do in the future, and then we finish our studies, so we get our first job, and then this is when we give up all our opportunities, because at that point in time, when we decide to take the job, we give up the opportunity of getting paid for results, so we decide to get paid for security. Now, this is one of the important things that people don't realize that they're doing, but it is exactly what I'm saying here. When you are offered security rather than opportunity, 99% of the people prefer security rather than opportunity. But ultimately, this is false security, because you still have to perform. You still have to provide results. But now you're not getting paid for the result. You're getting paid a salary, which means that the owner of the company is getting paid for the results the company gets, and it just pays you a small amount of money to give you the security that you want. So never look for security, always look for opportunity, and that will increase your earning capacity 10 times fold. Then, of course, we get married. We start our little families, right? And then we've got now the complete disaster, which is we've got a mortgage, we've got furniture that is probably, we borrow money to buy it. Then we get a nice car. So this is how we all end up our journey. And that's where most people are right now, without, a decent sized mortgage, maybe a car or two on loan or mortgage or whatever you call it, right? Bit of furniture as well, some credit cards. And as the rates go up, you start to feel that the money needs to be stretched. Okay. Now, this is one institution that takes 30 to 35% of all our income through our entire lives, right? When you end up with these loans of 30 years, they take 30 to 35% of all our income. Now, the other one is, our silent partner, which is the tax office. Now, these two institutions are the oppressors in everyone's lives, because these are the two institutions that take 60 to 65% of all their income, right? And the reason why they do it is because that's why they're there for. These are institutions that earn money, right? That take profits from us, right? And because we don't put our hand up to stop it, they just keep doing it, and they keep getting our money, taking our money, until we decide, well, that's enough. I don't want to do this anymore. I'll need to find a way out. And the best way to find a way out of these is through it, not around it, not on top of it, not underneath. You got to do it right. So that means you need to learn how these two institutions work. You need to learn all the products, all the applications, and then understand how to use them to your advantage rather than against you, rather than being frightened, rather than being fearful, rather than regress and go backwards. You need to understand, because once you understand how they work, you'll know how you can multiply your assets. You'll know how to progress and advance your life very, very quickly, because everything I talk about on how you can pay your mortgage within 5 to 7 years, how to reduce your taxes by 50% or sometimes more, how you can retire within 10 years with multiple investment properties will give you enough income to live comfortable from that point onwards, and how you're going to double your income, all this is in the public domain. I haven't invented it, I haven't created anything here. What I've done is just put it all together to demonstrate to you that you can have a lot more than what you have only when you decide and become committed to doing it. Because until you decide means you want to cut off the past and continue in a new path, nothing will change for you. That means if you want to have something you never had, you need to be prepared to do something you never did. Now, when I say this, doesn't mean you have to go and jump off the bridge or jump off the deep end. No. It means that you need to just do certain things differently. You need to change your habits. You need to change the information, the source of the information that you've been gathering around from, who are you getting the information from? Because beliefs, the belief system that we have, are just purely information. But if you don't change the source of the information, you keep receiving the same information, you definitely will get up the same result. You're going to get the same result because that's what things are. Okay, so if you want to get a new path into wealth, you need to do things different. Otherwise, you're going to have to make some pretty hardcore decisions, which are most likely remain trapped for 30 years to pay one single home loan. And when you find out after you've started the journey that for every dollar you borrow, you will have to pay $2. And in order to pay the $2, you have to pay another $1 to the tax office. So basically what it means is you have to be prepared to understand that whatever money you borrow from the bank, you have to earn 3 times that amount because by the time you pay the taxes and the interest to the bank, that's what you're going to have to earn to pay tax and the bank's interest, so you can have your mortgage fully paid in the 30-year period. Now, at the moment, we've seen interest rates were quite low back in the 2022 years of the pandemic, right? Now we're going to see that people will start to pay more money for their loans, okay, as the rates go up, because, you know, we seen here, we heard that the Reserve Bank, which doesn't reserve money, it's not a bank, because it doesn't bank, it's just the name of an institution called the Reserve Bank, right? They saying that now they need to tamper the inflation, which means bring it down, and that's why they're doing what they're doing. This is why, this is the story, and this is the reason they give us why the rates are going up. So you're going to have to be prepared now to tighten your belt, okay, or understand how the system works and loosen up the belt and have a good life. Because this, whatever is happening at the moment, which is the wind, the circumstances, is happening to everybody. But it's how you set your sail, is how you will travel through this storm. Now, obviously, if you don't even have a sail, which means that you don't want to do anything, then, you know, you probably will sink, or you're going to have a very rough time. But if you set your sail in the right way, okay, you will sail through the storm and you'll come out on the other side looking good. Now, as I said earlier, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to show people how one simple move in regards to looking at the possibilities, right? You can end up in a much, much better position without making any commitments of doing anything or buying anything. But it's in the looking that you will find. It's in the knocking that doors will open for you. But if you just want to stay there where you are, right, and gather a bit of information, take a few notes and just keep doing what you're doing, nothing new will happen to you, and you'll go back to doing what you do every day, which is your habitual things that you do. And these are all habits of the body, not even thinking, right? So these two institutions are what we call the oppressor. And the oppressor's power and purpose is the maintenance of the ignorance in people. And the fear of the oppressor is an educated slave, because this is all called modern times slavery, right? I'm not sure if you know, but about 50 years ago, you know, only the husband worked and the wife stayed home looking after the kids and preparing things for the family to get together after the husband came back home. But then, you know, these oppressors decided, well, why don't we get more money to these people? Now let's make things more expensive, right? Let's create some inflation so we can send the wife as well to work for us, because we all work for them. So then things became more expensive, more activity in the market, more things to buy, more marketing, right? Marketing things that were not good and good, you know, all combined together, right? So then now we got husband and wife working. Now, up until, you know, a year ago, okay, it was illegal for children to work, but now they're grabbing all our children. Now it's legal for children, I think is 12 or 15, they can go to work. Imagine that, right? Pretty soon they'll be having to go to work at 10 years of age. So people need to understand this, that you need to change the way that you are thinking about how you do things, and start to look for opportunities, look for new ideas, look for ways on how to get out of this enslavement, so you can start to live the life that you're meant to be living as a full human being, not just half a human being, which means that you're not growing. Because we can have limitless potential, but most of us stop growing after we leave school, get our first job, and after that we're just waiting to be buried, because we're doing the same thing that everybody else does, right? So you need to know that in order to be happy, first you need to learn new things. That's how you grow. And when you grow and learn, you feel happy, right? Because if you're not happy about the way that you are addressing life and getting results, well, what else is there? Okay, because making money is one thing, but if you don't know why you're making money, all you're doing is just using it just to pay bills and buy more things that similarly make you feel happy when things don't make people happy. The happiness comes from inside, reflected into an object. It's not that the object has got the happiness. All right, so after we finish in this webinar, Financial Ignorance to You, it's going to be a choice. Okay, and you have 4 choices to make. you will have 4 choices to make. One, try and do it all yourself, which is great. Okay, if you've got the courage to go and do it, fantastic. But it's like reinventing the wheel, because everything that I talk about, we do here. Other one is to get guidance. Again, it's once again from your good intention, free advisors, which might not get you anywhere very far, but at least you start. The other one is to pay someone to do it, okay, or do nothing. Now, I suggest that the first two are probably not going to help you that much, because if you didn't start to do it on your own and you don't do anything, well, you're not going to get very far very quickly. Getting guidance is good, but you need to make sure you get the right guidance from. Right? So if you're going to start to get guidance, try and find the person who's already wealthy to give you some ideas or the good intention free advice. Don't go to the people that do the same things you do, because you're going to end up keep doing what you're doing. Or find a company or someone that you can pay to do it, because that way you know that you can measure the results, and if it doesn't work, don't pay anymore. But you will get a lot further, a lot quicker using that concept. Now let's look at here at how our money is given away to these institutions and how much money they make. Now, here this graph here shows how 4 banks in Australia, right, by March 2022, they made $20 billion from, maybe 5 or 6 million Aussies. Right? So that's a lot of money. It's all 4 banks. Now, there are 62 banking institutions operating in this country, so I'm not sure how much the others made, but these just 4, the major ones, kind of take the lion's share in this. This is your money. Okay, and why is your money? Why is your money going there? Why is your money making the profits? Because they sell you the products that is much more profitable for them than is beneficial for you. And you are not doing much about it, because as I see in the records, right, that about 90% of everyone that is borrowing money, 90% of the people, they all have these 30-year principal interest loan. Okay, so what it means is we're trapped by the limitations of our beliefs. It means that our beliefs is information, okay, and the information comes from the source. If we don't change the source, we won't change the information, and the beliefs will remain the same. So you need to start to look for new ideas, start to knock on the door, start to find the answers. If that is really what you truly want to do, is you want to become financially independent within 10 years, if you want to get rid of the mortgage quickly, if you want to reduce your taxes and use it for your benefit rather than losing it all, you need to start to ask questions. You need to start to look at all the information, not just some information. Because if you don't believe, don't know how something works, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. But most people, when I ask these questions, they say, well, if I don't know how to do it, excuse me, maybe it doesn't exist, but that's kind of limiting yourself, because the opportunity and possibility exists in the unknown. So you need to go and find what you don't know. And you need to take the step into the unknown, not just on the known, because if you're going to take actions on what you know, well, you're already doing it, or you can only do it. You already can do it. And if you can do it, why aren't you doing it? And that can be a variety of things, but one of the most important ones would be that you don't have a good enough reason or a strong enough reason to get you to start. So always remember, you need to get yourself and follow a big idea, follow a dream, follow something you think, okay, this one here is something I don't know how to do, but I want to do it. Now, to illustrate this a little bit better, I've got here this picture. This is the guy, the first person that went up to the Mount Everest. And this guy here happened to be a beekeeper, New Zealand fella. Never went to the mountains, never did anything like that. One day decided, I'm going to go and climb the mountain. And he went there back in 51, he failed. He went back in 52, he failed. Then he went back in 53, and that's the picture. Now, did he know how to do it? Of course not. Did he want to do it? Yes. Did he have a good, strong enough reasons? Of course he did, right? But he didn't know how to do it. Now, what I'm asking here for you to think about is a few things, but one is, can we have a society without debt? Probably we can't. But can we live in a home without a mortgage? 100% we can. Can we live without paying taxes? We probably can't. But can we live by paying only 50% taxes? Of course we can. Can we retire within 10 years? and live a comfortable life that was going to look after us forever after that? Of course we can. Now, to you, it might seem to be like a Mount Everest, but hey, we're here to show people how it can be easily done, and we can show people exactly how it works without charging them any money to see how it works. And then it's up to you. So it's not a Mount Everest. It is something simple, right? But all it takes commitment, your commitment to yourself to achieve these simple goals in life, right? That can be achieved by anybody that is working, that has got a mortgage. All you need to do is be committed to this commitment that you want to achieve, and then you'll be standing on top of your Mount Everest in a very, very short period of time. So I ask a few questions here from you, so you can understand what things can be done. Would you like to know how you can pay off the mortgage in your home within 5 years rather than 30 years? Would you like to retire financially independent in 10 years or earlier? Or would you like to know how to double your income or reduce your taxes by a minimum of 20 to 50%? Okay, if the answer of any of those is yes, you would like to know how, well, we will show you how to do it only when you're ready and when you're prepared to listen, and to listen to yourself and believe in yourself that you can achieve these. All right, now I've got here a bit of a pie chart that talks about, the resulting people of retirement at the age of 65. 1 in 100 people will be retiring wealthy. 4 will be financial independent. 3 will continue working, and 92% will depend on government assistance. Now, this is from the Bureau of Statistics, right? So what's happened to these 92 people that depend on the government assistance or some kind of family assistance? That's because they were led to believe that the system was going to work for them. But the system is not created to help people. The system is created to help the people that created the system. And that's the common denominator in all these people here is they all have a 30-year principal interest loan. Now, let's talk about these two groups, okay, the 1% and the 99%. The 99% are the people that follow each other. They're the ones that say, what kind of loan have you got? So I'll go and get one the same. So the other ones say, what kind of loan have you got? I'll go and get another one. Because if you're going this way here, I'm going to try something else. I want to try and find this. I want to try and find that. They'll try and find every possible way how to do things, but they will not follow the crowd. They will not listen to the status quo. So these are the seekers. These are the leaders. And the good thing about these guys, and once they get on the top, they will try and help everybody else, because it's very lonely at the top, and right on the bottom is very, very crowded. All right, so you need to know this. This is your rights. The human person is always trying and enlarge your thinking, enlarge the way of thinking about how you can improve yourself. Because remember, you're going to leave this information to your children. And would you like to leave the information of a leader to your children or the information of a follower? All right, now remember that what I said earlier, that 50% of the money you're going to pay the banks in repayments will go in interest to the bank, which means that this money will go to those people and those people's children that own the banks. Now, if you know that you can get out of it and keep this money for your own children, it's up to you to decide which children you love better, the children of the bankers or your own children. So maybe that kind of makes you think a little bit different about, leaving things as they are and just adapting, right, to accept and give permission for them to take your money, or stop that permission and give permission to yourself to get out and find the way out. So this is the message for you. You need to stop this thinking that the system will help you, because the system is not created to help you. The system is created to take everything you've got and more. Okay, so replacing the income you earn by working, the income you receive by investing. Now, this is the interesting part that most people don't do, is that, people earn money, they spend money, and they save money later. But it should be you earn the money, save the rest, save first, and then you spend. Or better, earn, invest, save, and then spend. Because you need to know that you need to become a person that's got certain disciplines. Like Aristotle say, an undisciplined mind is a wasted mind. So you need to become disciplined about certain things. Okay, and saving is a very, very good discipline to adopt, because you need to save for your retirement. You need to save for the day when you said, I'm not going to work anymore and I'm going to live off the returns of my savings or investments. Okay, and of course, we're talking about this again, get rid of your debt, because as I'm going to show you in a minute, right, the higher the interest rate, the better it is for you if you're an investor. Okay, now that sounds a bit strange, but I will demonstrate that in a minute. Now, the introduction here to the strategy is just to show you simple cash flows on how you can pay a mortgage off within 5 years with one single property. Now, you might have a property which will work. You might not have one, which you buy one if you can, right? You can pay the mortgage within 5 years. Now, this also is related to and relevant to, of course, your living expenses. Okay, of course, that's an important thing. But if you want to pay the mortgage, you make adjustments, right? Because like when they send, the rockets into space, the rocket doesn't go straight to where it's meant to go. It needs to adjust, but also you need to adjust depending if you want to land where you say you want to land, you just say, I'm just going to go up there in the sky and see wherever I land, you don't care. So you need to understand this. If you want to get to this target, become financially independent within a short period of time, get rid of the mortgage quick, reduce your taxes, right? You need to adjust, right? So it's in the adjustment where all the wealth and wisdom happens. Now, this is a rate comparison that I've got that comes from a cash flow calculator from the biggest bank in Australia, right? Which talks about a person with a loan of $500,000 paying 5% interest, and another one $500,000 with a 7% interest. So the first one says that if you have a loan of $500,000 for 30 years and 5%, you'll pay the bank $2,685 a month, or that you're going to pay the bank over 30 years $966,000, and in interest you'll pay $466,000. Now, if you pay the bank at 7%, the rate, you'll be paying the bank $1.197 million in 30 years, and you'll give the bank $697,000 in the same time. So you can see here how the bank's not even trying to tell you how much they're going to take from you from borrowing money using these loans. The interesting part in here is that if you calculate what you'll pay the bank after 5 years at this rate, if the rate never went up, say at 5%, okay, it says there that you will pay the bank, you will still owe the bank after 5 years some $60,000 or $70,000. And if you're paying at 5 or 7%, you pretty much owe the same money, but $490-something thousand, and that's after 5 years of repayment. So you tell me if this is really called a principal and interest loan or an interest-only loan with a bit of principal on the back of it, because it's very clearly what they tell you what you're going to be doing. All right, now, if you look at these numbers here, a person that has a loan of $500,000 and has got a loan for 30 years paying at 5%, he'll be making repayments of $2,800 a month, and over 30 years, he will give the bank $1,008,000. But in order to give the bank the $1,008,000, it's going to have to earn $1.34 million to pay off the loan, which means that he's going to have to work a long, long time to pay one single home loan. Now, by buying an investment property for $500,000, borrowing the full amount, right, after 7 years, the mortgage will be paid, right, which means that he will work and she will work for 7 years to pay the mortgage and will save $1,030,000 in salaries that can now work for himself, right? So this cash flow here shows that if the person has got a living expense of, or the family of $2,500, annual income is, the monthly net income is $11,000 a month. The tax rate, I put it down 32%, which is the lowest, right? Just to be fair, right? And then by looking into the cash flow, we can see that home loan will be repaid in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. So after 6 years, it reduces from $500,000 down to zero. That's with one single investment property. Now, I'm not going to go through all the cash flow in here, but like I said, because it takes a bit of time, okay, is a way to do things different, okay, and these strategies that I use is used in bank products and tax applications, okay, and I'll be very happy to show anyone that would like to see how these can probably help them achieve this, or at least to try and understand it. Okay, so here I'm showing the historical interest rates in Australia since 1959, which back in 1959, 1960, the rate was 5%, and 1970 was 5.8, in 1980 was around 8 to 9%, in 1990 was 17%, which is when we had the recession that we had to have by our illustrious Prime Minister at the time. And in year 2000, it dropped down to around about 7%. Then in 2010, it went to about 6-7%. And in 2020, it went to around 4.9%. And after that, we became involved in the pandemic, right? It went down to about 1.9, and now it's only one way, and that is up. Now, how far up will go? Well, most people are saying around about 8 to 10%, but there are banks already that are charging 8.99%. So it's quite a high rate of interest compared to, what we're paying back in 2021, mid-21. So it is a cold shower that everyone's having, but need to be prepared for colder, because already the Reserve Bank, which I mentioned before, it doesn't reserve money, is not even a bank, right, has said that they will have 4 different rate rises, right? So expecting to more harsh times, right, and how you're going to be stretching the dollar is going to be totally up to you. Or if you want to learn how to get out of these, you need to start to look around for solutions. Okay, so what does an investment property give you if you decide to go down the path of doing this or understanding more how it works? It will give you an extra income, which is from rent. It will help you reduce taxes, which will increase the cash flow, cash in your bank account. Will give you capital appreciation according to previous data. Until the last 20 years, Melbourne probably doubles in value every 8 to 10 years. Sydney is about 5 to 7 years. Right? So it is constant capital appreciation. Right? And also will help reduce the 30-year bank incarceration, because you'll be able to use that money to offset that loan in a very, very fast way. So let's look at these Australian house prices since around the late 1800s, where the prices, as you can see here, was probably less than $20,000, and then it kind of stagnated there for quite some time until around about the 1970s, when the bankers decided that they were not going to be supporting the printing of the money with the reserves of gold. They said, we'll just go and print money. And of course, if they print money because, they just want to print it, right, to lend it out, well, everybody started buying things. So, you could afford to buy. Interest rates became cheap. So people started to buy, and everything became, a bit out of control. But you can see here how properties have gone up over a period of time. And now we're kind of, looking at the average home price in Melbourne to about $700-800. Sydney's around $1.1-1.2 million. And that's because obviously we've got also population growth, right? I'm not sure if you know this, but back in 1916, the population in the world here was about 1.6 billion. And now we're kind of getting close to 7.5 billion people. So obviously all that creates a lot more pressure, a lot more demand in things and items, and properties is one of the most preferred places where people like to save money in. So obviously all those different factors make properties go up in value also. All right, so now talking about Landmark and how we can help people see the light in the path towards wealth creation and debt reduction and making things easier. Okay, we provide, our core strategies help people get rid of the debt faster, recover the lost tax by 20 to 50%, right? Own investment properties or assets of between 5 and 10 for an early retirement, and also improve your vision as to who how you truly are, and connect with your mindset in regards to the possibility that you are, they can help you achieve great things in your life, right? Purely because you can. Okay, and just believing that you earn the money you earn and there's no way you can earn. Don't believe in that, because I can show anyone how you can easily earn between $500 to $1,000 an hour, right? And it doesn't take too long to explain, and it doesn't take too long to start earning it. Right? So it's just that we put limitations in our minds by believing things, because all we see is in one direction instead of looking panoramically, right? Which means you can see everything. Most people just see things through tunnel vision, which is not good, because it limits your possibility. And as humans, we are just a possibility. All right. The other added value service we have for people is we also, through the services we provide and our agreements with clients to help them achieve wealth, is we provide a full service in tax returns twice a year. We provide the guidance for tax minimization products that are within the tax office laws and applications through our registered accounting associated firms. Also, we show the people the strategies and get rid of debt. Okay, we provide through our legal associated companies legal advice and guidance in regards to property. Okay, we also have finance specialists, guidance from independent consultants, many of them that can help you to guide yourself through how to borrow money in the most effective way. We provide also rental support for 10 years for clients and for periods of non-tenancies, and also provide options as well for people that would like to know how they could invest in property using superannuation. So the strategies, can help you make money. The strategies can help you save tax, time, and also interest unnecessarily being given to banks purely because we've been following everybody around. All right, so the next step, I would suggest you look us up on the internet and, make contact with us via email or call, so we can see if we can help you achieve your desired outcome in life financially. And hopefully, we can get to meet you and see if we can show you the way out of this kind of stress that we all been given by the banks and the rates of interest that have hit us, and they're probably here to stay for quite some time. So anyway, it's lovely seeing you once again, and let's hope they can meet up with you next week. We're going to be conducting a full-on seminar early March this year, where we'll be inviting hundreds of people to show you new things and new ways and strategies on how to improve your life financially. So stay tuned, and God bless you, and let's hope we can see you soon.